Welcome people on Internet. My name is Tyler. I'll show you guys my Soundwave and Laserbeak rig. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so jumping into the actual scene collection here, we have the geometry for both Soundwave and Laserbeak, and then also the rig is housed in this folder. And then going down, we have this Do Not Touch folder. This is literally just for like all of the text and rig objects that I use. And then the grease pencil, and then lastly the camera. Now the reason why I keep these separated is just because if you're importing these things, usually you're probably already going to have a camera, you just want the grease pencil. So that is why. Okay, so now I'm just going to hop into the Soundwave rig box. I'm going to Control Tab to go into the rig. You can rotate, you can move, and scale this up and down for your needs. So going into the visibility section, this is for FK. You can access these through item properties, or you can go to the bone properties and then scroll down to custom properties. And as you can see, this is just turning on and off FK, and then IK, and lastly individual, just for stuff that I feel like doesn't fit within those two categories. And now going up, we have the IK FK functionality. For this rig, it is just the arms and legs. I'm just going to turn these on, and then as you can see, and with this rig, I have parented the elbow bone to the actual IK hand, so it does move around. Sometimes it will cause some issues like this, where the rotation might not be correct, so this is where you just scoot it down, and then that works out. And then also same for the feet as well, as you can see. Okay, going to the transform function, this is just text, doesn't do anything. If we go to the actual arrow here, this is where you can adjust the head follow. So you can either control the head with the head controller or neck, or you can control it from this box here, just in case you want the head not to follow with the torso, as you can see. And then it also automatically locks it so you can't accidentally move that. And when you're transforming him, make sure this is set to 0. And also make sure that all of these are set to 0 when you're transforming him, or else you're going to get errors. And then as you can see, he transforms into the cassette player. And if you do accidentally do this, where the IK is on, it's just going to look kind of all out of whack. So all you need to do is just go in here, turn this off, and it'll work perfectly fine. Okay, resetting that. Go over to this other controller here. This is the weapon snapping, and then also the cassette snapping as well. So in this case, the gun will snap to this bone here, and then this bone here, as you can see. And then that snaps. And then just because Laserbeak isn't attached, he's going to snap to this bone here. But when he is transformed, it will be in the correct placement. And then going to the geometry, this is just title of the geometry, pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so now I'm going to hop over to the Laserbeak rig box. You slide Soundwave over. Same exact idea with the box. You can rotate, translate, and scale. And then also for the FK, IK, the FK, the IK, and then the individual. Now there's this one control that I have by default hidden. This is literally just for the transform function, as in the past. If I've moved the COG, it has caused issues with translation, scaling. So I made a whole separate bone for that. And turn those back. I'm going to go to the IK FK function. And for Laserbeak, I have included a neck IK functionality here. Rotate this. And then also the neck function. And then also has the feet as well, as you can see. Okay, and set these back to 0. Going down to the transform function here, as you can see, Laserbeak will transform into a cassette tape. And then, yeah, you just control this with the COG. It is a tad bit off-center, as the COG controller is set up for the actual robot form, but should work perfectly fine. And then going back, lastly is the visibility for all of the geometry pieces. Okay, so now I'm just going to go through all of the individual parts for the rig. Okay, so starting off with Soundwave here, and before we go through this, I just want to talk about why everything is centered. In the past, I've had issues with scaling, where if it's not in the middle, it can cause issues, so I purposely put everything in the middle, so that's why it looks a little messy. But obviously when you're animating, it's not going to all be there. So for the purposes of that is why that is. So starting at the top here, pretty self-explanatory. We have some head controllers here. I have this head cover, as you can see, and then we go cassette button here. Also for this rig, I have no limits set, as also in the past I have run into issues where the limits will sometimes break the interpolation of the actual animation frame, so I just decided not to include any, and it also allows me to work more on other stuff. And this mouth controller here, you can kind of scale it up and down for talking motion. And then going to the arms here, we have the shoulder. And this is a little bit different, the way that I have this set up. This arm joint is more so used with the IK hands, but it can allow for a little bit more rotation, even though there's not a specific part attached to it. And kind of coming down here, it's the lower arm. And then we have a palm base so that the hand can go in. Now, the only thing is, you can only pull it to about here before it starts clipping. So just be mindful of that. And then we have the palm, and then the thumb, this kind of stuff. And then this is where the gun will attach. And then I have some knuckle deformers, so the knuckles aren't always straight. Something interesting there. And then, as always, the fingers will automatically bend. And then from this, you can build upon, do some further adjustments for each finger. And then we'll go back here. I'm going to pull this out. We have this backpack here. Now, these pieces are for the covers for the cassette player mode. So I just figured I'd just put these back here as there was room. As you can see, these go there. And snapping that back, go down to the torso here, and then the lower torso if you need a little bit more. And then the cassette door opens up, and then this bone is where Laserbeak will attach on, so you can adjust that if needed. And then going down here, we have the individual buttons which you can push in, as so. And then going down to the leg, pretty simple. For this bone purposefully is like this, so it will bend normally if you're using the leg. This is just for the cassette mode, as this part will go in the back. So that's why that's set up like that. And going down, it's getting a little messy. We have the foot controller, and then these are the bottom supports for the cassette. And then we have the dial here, and then also the switch. This is the only bone that I actually do have limits on, just because it's not translating all over the place. Figured that was easy. And then we have the gun, which will pull out here. And you pull the trigger. Okay, so now I'm just going to hop into the Laserbeak functionality. You have the wings, as you can see here. Kind of rotate this around, and then we have the actual jetpack base. And then for this as well, I have the engine, so you can kind of do a little like kind of thing. And then these pieces are the cassette tape covers for those. And then these pieces here. And then kind of coming around here, we have the actual gun, and then I've added a controller to where you can kind of bring this in, a little recoil action in there. And then we have the wings on the side, and then this is the wing base, and then the actual torso bit. And then we'll go down here. We have the leg, and then the bottom foot here, and the front. And then going up, we have the neck base, and then the actual neck itself. Kind of bend here. Now, because I have a little bit of weight painting on the actual head, there is going to be a little bit of deformation, bone difference. And then we have the beak, lower and upper beak, and then the tongue. And then overall COG. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next video.